Good morning, students. Welcome to chemistry class. This is Vivian Raju presenting the today's lesson. Today's topic is the modern periodic table and the classification of elements into blocks. Let us go to the lesson. In the previous classes, we discussed the general characteristics, merits and demerits of long form of periodic table. We also studied the common names of elements in the periodic table, and we discussed how to give temporary names to the newly discovered elements, and we also discussed that the elements in a group reflects the similar electronic configurations in the valence shell. Now let us discuss the classification of periodic table into various blocks. Based on the subenergy level in which the differentiating electrons enter, the elements in the periodic table are classified into S block elements, P block elements, D block elements, and F block elements. If the differentiating electron, that is the last electron, which differentiates that element with the previous element, enters in S orbital, the element belongs to S block. If the differentiating electron enters in the p orbital of the valence shell, that element belongs to p block. If the differentiating electron enters in the d orbital of the penultimate shell, that is a shell before the last shell, the element is said to be a d block element. If the differentiating electron enters in the f orbital of anti-penultimate shell, that is a shell two shells before the valence shell, then that element is said to be an F block element. In the periodic table, the elements are divided into four blocks. The elements in the first two columns, that is 1A group elements and 2A group elements, that is first group elements and second group elements, are said to be the S block elements. The elements which are belonging to first A, hydrogen, lithium, sodium, potassium, rubidium, cesium, francium. In all these elements, the valence electronic configuration is NS1, where N is the valence shell. In the second group elements, beryllium, magnesium, calcium, strontium, barium, and radium, the general electronic configuration in the valence shell is NS2. That means the valence electron is in the S orbital. So the elements of first group and second group together are said to be the S block elements. The S block elements lie at the left side of the periodic table. The first two columns in the periodic table are S block elements. Next, P block elements lie at the right side of the periodic table. The last six columns in the long form of the periodic table are the P block elements. Just like the S block elements, P block elements are the elements in which the differentiating electron enters in the p orbital of valence shell. The general electronic configuration of p orbitals is NS2, NP, 1 to 6. The p orbital is being filled successively up to 6 electrons. So this is the general configuration of p block elements. The 13th group elements, the 14th group elements, 15th group elements, 16th group elements, 17th group elements and 18th group elements together said to be the p block elements except helium. Helium is an s block element. The differentiating electron is in s orbital of the valence shell. Helium is an s block element, but it is included in the p block elements. This is one of the defects of long form of periodic table. Though this is an s block element, why this helium is included along with p block elements? Helium resembles the other elements in the 18th group, that is neon, argon, krypton, etc. So it is added together with 18th group elements, so though it is an s block element. In the p block elements, the p orbital of the valence shell successively fills with one electron. That is, the differentiating electron enters in the p orbital of the valence shell. The elements present in the p orbital are boron family, boron, aluminum, gallium, indium, and thallium. The elements belong to 14th group, carbon family, carbon, silicon, germanium, tin, lead, and so on. The 15th group elements are said to be the nicogens. The first element is nitrogen. The other elements are phosphorus, arsenic, antimony, and bismuth. The 16th group elements are oxygen, sulfur, selenium, tellurium, polonium, and so on. The 17th group elements are halogens. They are fluorine, chlorine, bromine, iodine, etc. These elements belong to p block. The d block elements lie in between the s block elements and p block elements. The d block elements are present in 10 groups in between s block elements and p block elements. They occupy the groups from 3rd to 12th. The elements in the 3rd group, 4th group, 5th group, 6th group, 7th group, 8th group, 9th group, 10th, 11th, and 12th group are said to be the d block elements. The d block elements are present in 4th period, 5th period, 6th period, and 7th period only. There are no d block elements in the 1st, 2nd, and 3rd periods. The general electronic configuration of d block elements is ns2 n-1 d 1 to 10. In some cases, in order to give the stable electronic configuration, the electronic configuration can be deviated. So we can write this as ns 1 to 2 or 1 or 2 n-1 d 1 to 10 is the general electronic configuration of d block elements. The f block elements are arranged in 2 rows at the bottom of the main frame. There are 2 series of f block elements, the 4s series, 4f series, and 5f series. The f block elements are the elements in which the differentiating electron enters into the f orbital of antipenultimate shell. The general electronic configuration of f block elements is ns2 n-1 d1 n-2 f1 to 14. In these 14 elements in each group, the f orbitals are being filled with electrons. That is, the differentiating electron enters into the f orbital of antipenultimate shell in the f block elements. So in this way, the periodic table is classified into 4 blocks: S block, P block, D block, and F block. The first 2 groups are S block elements. The last 6 groups are P block elements, and the elements in the middle, that is in between S block and P block, are the D block elements. and the elements which are shown at the bottom of the periodic table are the F block elements. Now let us discuss the characteristic properties of these elements one by one. General characteristics of S block elements. We already discussed that S block elements are the elements present in the first two groups, that is first group elements, and the second group elements are the S block elements. The first group contains hydrogen, lithium, sodium, potassium, rubidium, and cesium. These elements are the S block elements. Except hydrogen, all the other elements are soft metals with low melting points and boiling points. General electronic configuration is NS1. In the second group, the general electronic configuration is NS2. The elements in the second group are beryllium, magnesium, calcium, strontium, barium. These possess 2 electrons in the valence shell. You know that the elements in the first group are said to be the alkali metals, and the elements in the second group are said to be the alkaline earth metals. So alkali metals and alkaline earth metals belong to the S block. These elements are highly electropositive in nature. These elements act as strong reducing agents. Electropositive in nature means they have a high tendency of losing electrons. As they have only 1 or 2 electrons in their valence shells, they get the stability by the loss of electrons. So because of that, they show high tendency of losing electrons. That means they act as good donors of electrons. The donors of electrons are called the reducing agents. So because of their high electropositive nature, these elements behave as strong reducing agents. Next, these elements mostly form ionic compounds. As they have the tendency of formation of cations, they form the ionic compounds usually. The alkali metals usually lose 1 electron to form monopositive ions. M loses 1 electron and forms a monopositive ion M+, where M is alkali metal. That is either lithium or sodium or potassium or rubidium or cesium. In the second period, the element M loses 2 electrons to form a dipositive ion. M2+ is formed. Here the element is either beryllium or magnesium or calcium or strontium or barium. That is alkaline earth metal. Cations are formed by the loss of electrons. These cations are associated with anions by strong forces of attraction. As a result, the ionic compounds are formed. The typical examples of ionic compounds are the sodium chloride, magnesium chloride, calcium chloride, calcium fluoride, etc. These are all the ionic compounds which are made by ions. Na plus and Cl minus ions are present in sodium chloride. Mg2 plus and Cl minus ions are present in magnesium chloride. Ca2 plus and Cl minus ions are present in calcium chloride. Ca2 plus and F minus ions are present in calcium chloride, CaF2. Next, let us go to the general characteristic properties of p block elements. The elements in the p block include metals, nonmetals, and metalloids. The s block elements are all metals which are soft, whereas the elements present in the p block are either metals or nonmetals or metalloids. For example, in the 14th group, the elements present are boron, aluminum, gallium, indium, and thallium. In these elements, boron exhibits both metallic and non-metallic characters. So boron is a metalloid here. Boron is a metalloid. Aluminum also exhibits the properties of metalloid, though it is a metal. The oxides of aluminum are amphoteric in nature, that is, the oxide of aluminum behaves as an acid with base and base with acid. Aluminum shows a little non-metallic nature, though it is a metal. The gallium, indium, and thallium are pure metals. In the 15th group, the elements are nitrogen, phosphorus, arsenic, antimony, and bismuth. In these elements, nitrogen and phosphorus are nonmetals. Arsenic and antimony are metalloids, and bismuth is a metal. Bismuth is a metal. In the same way, in the 16th group, the elements present are oxygen, sulfur, selenium, tellurium, and polonium. Among these, oxygen and sulfur are nonmetals. Selenium and tellurium are metalloids. And polonium is a metal. The 17th group elements are all nonmetals. The elements present in the 17th group are fluorine, chlorine, bromine, iodine, and astatine. All are nonmetals. The 18th group elements are inert gases. You know that these are helium, neon, argon, krypton, xenon, and radon. The last element, radon, is a radioactive element. The other elements are all gases. So they are the nonmetals. So from these you can understand that the p block contains metals, nonmetals, and metalloids. The general electronic configuration of p block elements is ns2np1-6. That is, the p orbital of the valence shell is successively filled with electrons in the p block elements. The general electronic configuration of 13th group elements is ns2np1. For 14th group elements, ns2np2. For 15th group elements, ns2np3. For 16th group elements, ns2np4. For 17th group elements, ns2np5. And for 18th group elements, ns2np6. Next, p block elements combine with other elements by lossing, gaining, or sharing of the valence electrons. These are less electropositive compared to s block elements. The elements which contain 3 electrons in the valence shell, that is 13th group elements, ns2 np1 electronic configuration. These undergo ionization and they can form a positive ion possessing 3 units of charge. by the loss of 3 electrons, these elements form a positive ion possessing 3 units of positive charge. So these can participate in the ionic reactions. That means ionic compounds are formed by 13th group elements. The elements belonging to 14th, 15th, 16th, 17th groups form mostly the covalent compounds. The reason is due to their less electropositive nature. These elements have a lesser tendency of losing electrons compared to S block elements. So usually these compounds form covalent compounds. The covalent compounds are formed by the sharing of electrons. The elements which are at the right side, that fluorine, chlorine, bromine and iodine, can gain electrons and they become negatively charged ions. So usually the halogens can form ionic compounds with alkali metals and alkaline earth metals. So these form the compounds either by the loss of electrons or by the gain of electrons or by the sharing of electrons. The ionic compounds are formed by the loss and gain of electrons, and covalent compounds are formed by the sharing of electrons in the valence shell. The noble gases do not show any reactivity. The noble gases helium, neon, argon, krypton, xenon and radon do not show any reactivity as their valence shells are completely filled with 8 electrons. They are highly stable. But xenon exhibits a little reactivity in the drastic conditions with highly reactive elements like oxygen and fluorine. Next, these elements mostly form covalent compounds. The halogens, however, form ionic compounds with alkali metals and alkaline earth metals. We already discussed this in the third point. Next, general characteristic properties of D block elements. You know that the D block elements are placed in the periodic table in between the S block elements and P block elements. The elements belonging to third group to 12th group. Elements belonging to third group to 12th group are said to be the D block elements, in which the d orbital of the penultimate shell is being filled with electrons successively. So the general electronic configuration of D block elements is ns2 n-1 d 1 to 10, but rarely at some places, in order to give extra stability, the electronic configuration is deviated from this usual configuration. So we can write the general electronic configuration as ns1 to 2, that 1 or 2, n-1 d 1 to 10 is the general electronic configuration of D block elements. The D block elements are metals which have high melting and boiling points. The metals in the S and P block elements are soft metals and they possess low melting and boiling points, whereas the metals of D block elements, all the elements in the D block are metals and these metals possess a high melting and boiling points. The D block elements exhibit transition behavior, that is, the behavior between highly electropositive elements and highly electronegative elements, that is intermediate between highly reactive electropositive ionic compound forming elements and covalent compound forming elements. You know that S block elements are the ionic compound forming elements and P block elements are the covalent compound forming elements, and these elements show the intermediate behavior. Because of that, these are placed in between S block and P block in the periodic table. Therefore, the D block elements are called transition elements. So these are kept at the transition position, that is the position between the highly electropositive elements which form the ionic compounds and the less electropositive elements which form the covalent compounds. So that position is called transition position. So those elements are said to be the transition elements. The general valence shell configuration of d block elements is ns0 to 2, n-1, d1 to 10. Sometimes in one case we observed that there are no electrons in s orbital. That is in the case of 3d 10 5s2 3d8 instead of 5s2 3d8 5s2 4d8. We observe that electrons are missed in 5s and electrons enter in 4d. Electrons are present only in 4d in the case of palladium. In the case of palladium. So we can change the electronic configuration as ns0 to 2, n-1, 1 to 10. This kind of deviations from the Aufbau principle is in order to give high stability to the atom. Next, the valence electrons belonging to the outermost or both outermost and penultimate shells may take part in the chemical reactions. As a result, d block elements show variable oxidation states. In the s and p block elements, only the electrons in the valence shells, that is outer shells, participate in the chemical reactions, whereas in the d block elements, the electrons which are present in the valence shell or the electrons present in the penultimate shell. Penultimate shell is a shell before the valence shell. If nth shell is the valence shell, n-1th shell is the penultimate shell. The s and p orbitals of valence shell and d orbitals of penultimate shell can also participate in the chemical reactions in the d block elements. Because of that, these elements usually exhibit the variable oxidation states. For example, iron exhibits two oxidation states +2 and +3. Copper exhibits two oxidation states +1 and +2. Next, most of the d block elements form colored compounds. The formation of colored compounds is due to the transition of electrons between d orbitals. You know that all the d orbitals are degenerate orbitals. What is meant by degenerate orbitals? D orbitals possess same amount of energy. All the 5 d orbitals possess the same amount of energy. Their energies are same. The unpaired electrons present in the d orbitals may excite from one d orbital to other d orbitals, but in the free atoms, all the d orbitals are degenerate. But when the transition elements forms a coordination complex, the electrons present in the d orbitals, may interact with the electron cloud of the ligand, that is, which formed the coordination complex with the transition element. Because of that, the d orbitals split into 2 or 3 parts depending on the geometry of the compound. Split into 3 parts. As a result, they lose their degeneracy. The d orbitals split into 2 or 3 parts due to the interaction of the unpaired electrons present in the d orbitals and the electron cloud of the ligands. So they lose their degeneracy. In such a case, that is in the compounds of d block elements, electron may transit from one d orbital to higher energetic d orbital. The energy difference between these two d orbitals lie in the visible region. If electron transits from lower energy state to higher energy state, the energy corresponding to the difference between those two orbitals will be absorbed. If energy of a particular radiation is absorbed, that radiation, that frequency is missed in the white light. As a result, the complementary color is exhibited by the compound. That is, when one color is removed from white light, the color possessed by them is known as complementary color, and the compounds exhibit the complementary colors of the radiation which is absorbed by the transition of electron from the lower energetic d orbital to higher energetic d orbital. Usually the energies are in the visible region. Because of that, most of the d block elements form colored compounds. Next, the d block elements and their ions and compounds are generally paramagnetic in nature. The paramagnetic nature is due to the presence of unpaired electrons. You know that a spinning electron behaves as a magnet. A magnetic moment is developed due to the spin of electrons. Magnetic moment developed due to the spin of electrons, ms is equal to square root of n into n plus 2 Bohr magnetons. N into n plus 2 Bohr magnetons. That is, the total magnetism developed depends upon the n value, where n is the number of unpaired electrons. If an element possesses more number of unpaired electrons, its magnetic moment will be high. Such kind of elements are said to be the paramagnetic substances or paramagnetic elements. If all the orbitals are completely filled with electrons like this, all the orbitals present in the atom are completely filled with electrons like this, the magnetic momentum produced by the electrons spinning in the clockwise direction are nullified by the magnetic moments produced by the spinning of electrons in the anti-clockwise direction. As a result, no magnetism is exhibited by the element. Such kind of elements are said to be diamagnetic in nature. The diamagnetism is due to the presence of completely filled orbitals, whereas paramagnetism of the element is due to the presence of unpaired electrons in the orbitals. The more the number of unpaired orbitals, the more will be the paramagnetic nature of the element. The d block elements usually possess unpaired electrons in the d orbitals. So d block elements are usually paramagnetic in nature. Next, most of the d block elements, that is, are transition elements, and their compounds are good catalysts. Most of these elements behave as catalytic nature. The catalysts are the substances which alter the rate of reaction. They provide a platform for the reactants to react more easily, or they reduce the activation energy of the reactants. So more number of reactants can combine together to form the compounds easily. So they increase the rate of the reaction. Sometimes they may decrease the rate of reaction also. We have learned that the catalysts which increase the rate of reaction are said to be the positive catalysts, and the catalysts which decrease the rate of reaction are said to be the negative catalysts. These catalysts provide a new path to the reaction which has the lowest threshold energy. As a result, usually the rate of the reaction increases with the catalyst. Substances which act as catalysts, for example, in the preparation of sulfuric acid in contact process, either platinum or vanadium pentoxide is used as a catalyst. Platinum is a metal, vanadium pentoxide is an oxide of metal. In the manufacture of nitric acid from nitrogen and oxygen, the platinum is used as a catalyst. In the hydrogenation of oils, nickel is used as a catalyst. Oils are converted into fats by using nickel. When oil is heated with hydrogen in the presence of nickel at 250 degrees Celsius, the hydrogen is added to the unsaturated positions of the oil and it becomes saturated. This process is known as hydrogenation of oils. Oils are converted into fats. In this reaction, nickel is used as a catalyst. Most of the d block elements act as catalysts. Not only the d block elements, their compounds like vanadium pentoxide. Next, the properties of transition elements in any period do not differ much from one another, unlike those of the non-transition elements of the same period. In a period, we can observe that a particular property gradually changes as we move from left to right. For example, the size of the atom gradually decreases from left to right in the period. Size of atom gradually decreases from left to right in the periodic table. The decrease in size of the atom is very less in d block elements compared to the normal elements, that is s and p block elements. The reason is, in the d block elements, the differentiating electron enters into the penultimate shell, that is the inner shell. The electrons present in the inner shell shields the electrons present in the outer shell. Because of the more shielding effect, the nucleus cannot show its complete effect on the outer electrons. As a result, the attraction of the nucleus on the outer electron decreases. So the decrease in the size of the atom is not up to expectation. As a result, the decrease in the size of the atom is less in d block elements compared to the decrease in the size of the atom in s block elements and p block elements. In the same way, the other properties like ionization potential, electronegativity, electron affinity, these properties also show this kind of variation in the d block elements. Which kind of variation? The variation in the property in the d block elements of the same period is less when compared to the elements in the s blocks and p blocks. The variation is pronounced more in s and p block elements compared to the d block elements. The less variation is due to the shielding of electrons present in the inner shells, as the differentiating electrons in the inner shells are being increased in the d orbitals. Next, general characteristic properties of F-block elements. The F-block elements are metals having high melting and boiling points, just like the D-block elements. These elements also possess high melting and boiling points. The general valence shell configuration of F-block elements is NH2, N-1, D0 to 1, N-2, F1 to 14. That is, the f orbital of antipenultimate shell is being filled with electrons. A maximum of 14 electrons can be filled in the f orbitals. The differentiating electron enters in the antipenultimate shell, that is, two shells before the outer shell. These elements exhibit variable oxidation states, just like the transition elements. The reason for exhibiting variable oxidation states is same, that is due to the participation of d orbitals in the chemical bonds. The electrons in the f orbitals do not participate in chemical bonds, whereas the electrons in d orbitals participate in the chemical bonds. As a result, the d block elements and f block elements usually exhibit variable oxidation states. The general oxidation state is usually +3. That is due to the participation of electrons present in the ns orbital and n-1 d orbital. There are 2 electrons in the ns orbital and 1 electron in n-1 d orbital. So if these 3 electrons are lost by the atom, it gets +3 oxidation state. So the general oxidation state or most common oxidation state of F-block elements is +3. These elements form colored salts. Just like the D-block elements, these elements also form colored salts. This reason is same for this. The splitting of orbitals take place in the compounds. The splitting of d orbitals, due to the splitting of d orbitals, the electrons present in the lower energetic d orbitals can excite to the higher energetic d orbitals. As a result, energy is absorbed. This energy difference lies in the visible region. So these elements also form the colored salts. The elements in which 4f orbitals are being filled are called lanthanides. Atomic number of lanthanum is 57. Its electronic configuration is 6s to 5d1. From the elements from cerium to lutetium, that is from the elements from atomic numbers 58 to 71, that is from cerium to lutetium, the 4f orbitals are being filled. So their electronic configuration will be 6s to 5d1, 4f1 to 14. 14 electrons are successively filled in the 4f orbital. So there are 14 elements. All these elements possess the same electronic configuration in the valence shell and the penultimate shell. Because of the presence of same kind of configuration in the valence shell and the penultimate shell, they exhibit the similar properties. Because of that, all the 14 elements, 14 elements from cerium to lutetium are grouped along with the lanthanum. That is, along with the lanthanum, 15 elements are kept in the same position in the long form of the periodic table, that is in the 6th period and 3rd group. Actually, these 15 elements belong to 3rd group in the long form of periodic table. As all these elements from atomic numbers 58 to 71 resemble lanthanum in properties, these elements are said to be the lanthanides. The lanthanides are also known as rare earths. As these elements exist in nature very less in quantity. These are sparingly available in the nature. Because of that, these elements are said to be rare earths. They are present in the Earth's crust in small quantities, so they are called the rare earths. In the lanthanides, the 4f orbital is being successfully filled with electrons, whereas in actinides, that is 5f series, in which 5f orbital is being successively filled with electrons. Actinium's atomic number is 89. Atomic number of actinium is 89. The elements from thorium to lawrencium, that is with atomic numbers 90 to 103, are said to be the actinides. 14 elements are said to be the actinides. The general electronic configuration in the valence shell of actinium is 7s to 6d1, whereas in the case of thorium to lawrencium, the differentiating electron enters in the f orbital of antipenultimate shell. So their general electronic configuration will be 7s to 6d1, 5f1 to 14. 5f orbital is successively being filled with electrons. And these elements possess the same electronic configurations in the valence shell and the penultimate shell. So these 15 elements exhibit similar properties. That means the 14 elements from thorium to lawrencium resemble actinium in properties. So all these 15 elements together are called as actinides, and they are kept in the same place in the periodic table. The actinides are radioactive in nature. Most of these elements are artificially prepared. They do not occur naturally. Most of these elements are artificially prepared by the scientists in the laboratories by nuclear transmutations. By changing the nucleus, by bombarding with high-speed particles, the number of protons are increased. As a result, new elements were discovered. These elements are not stable. They lose the radioactive rays, and they are radioactive in nature. Let us continue this in the next class. Thank you.